Welcome troops, it's me, TheTacticalBrit, and one of the longest discussions happening in the Battlefield community at the moment is surrounding customization in Battlefield 5. And today I kind of wanted to go over the controversy around customization in the game and kind of point out some things that I feel are really important and things that we should probably recognize as a community. So, first and foremost, customization is coming to Battlefield 5. We've seen it in the reveal trailer, which wasn't ideally the best trailer in the world, but nonetheless showcased that we did have a large degree of customization coming to the game. This included everything from face paints to different uniforms, and even by the looks of things in the higher ranks of the game, a arm prosthetic, which is a big central controversy, something that a lot of people weren't too pleased about, but either way, we'll keep going. And it's something that we've wanted in the game for a long time now. For me, I've been advocating character customization since the days of Battlefield 3 and Bad Company 2. I've always really wanted to kind of create my own characters and have characters that either resemble me or just have an identity that I could create myself. It's something that's existed in a lot of shooters now, and it really surprised me that it's taken so long for it to finally come to the Battlefield franchise. So, what is it really that's made customization so controversial? And this is something that I'm going to break down into 2 points, and it might be even mildly political to say the least. So, the first one is that customization has kind of become embroiled in this entire controversy about women featuring in Battlefield 5. Now, personally speaking, for me, this isn't really a problem. I've never really been too concerned with the whole historical accuracy of things, and truth be told, you know, I kind of just like the idea that people are going to be able to customize themselves. Battlefield actually has a pretty strong community when it comes to women, and it would be really cool for them to be able to be whoever they fancy being, customize their characters however they see fit. And I think that's cool, you know, it's not really a problem for me, it's not something that I've never really been up in arms about. And whilst I know some people are frustrated about the fact that perhaps it isn't entirely historically accurate that they are featuring in both the British and German factions, it's not that real big a concern. However, people have used the idea of customization to almost weaponize complaints about women featuring in the game. Now, for most people, there are some serious concerns about customization. There are people who are worried that it's going too far, there are people who are worrying that the uniforms won't match up, there are people who are worrying that the uniforms will scramble the ability to identify different classes, there are also people who are worried that simply it's just going to look a little ridiculous. Now, I for one have always advocated customization in Battlefield, but only to a certain degree. I totally agree with people that we don't want things to look absolutely obscene and ridiculous, and obviously with the fact that there is no premium pass, people are presuming that paid skins will become some kind of cosmetic transaction, and you know, the last thing we want is some kind of Fortnite level of craziness running around on the battlefield. However, with that being said, this sort of idea of customization has been sort of picked up and weaponized for a very small vocal minority who have been attacking the idea of women featuring in the game, who have been, you know, very up in arms, very bigoted, and, you know, it's not something that I think a lot of people in the community are overly concerned about, but I think it's one of those things that Reddit just took and ran away with and immediately started shouting because they could, or just the general wider internet who has zero interest in the game but went, "Women in World War II? How dare you?" Now, it's really frustrating, and this is something that I think is really annoying as well, because there is a vocal community who is trying to make a valid point that having people running around with prosthetic arms with, you know, flashy face paint might not be the Battlefield customization they were looking for. And I totally understand that. I'll be true to you guys. When I first saw the sort of prosthetic arm woman thing, I was like, okay, that's a bit wild. Like, you know, we need to maybe calm down a little bit here. Not because there was a woman in the scene, but simply just because, you know, there was a sort of cyborg lady in the scene, and that I felt that was a bit strange. Now, it has been clarified that this prosthetic thing is like some sort of later down the line ultimate unlock for people who have played the game really long, but even then I just sort of thought, yeah, it just doesn't seem to quite fit. But because of the fact that there are so many people who are just using this as a basis to attack females featuring in the game, it's just been really frustrating for the community, because you can't seem to make a constructive criticism point about customization without appearing to be bigoted, and vice versa. You know, and I understand that, and I totally understand some people's frustrations who have said, look, I think this customization is ridiculous, but have in some way been attacked and said, well, blah blah, you shouldn't be saying that because women should feature in the game. That's a totally valid thing that's happened. It's something that I've seen happen as well. People who are just trying to make constructive criticisms and feedbacks have been sort of grouped in with these people. And I feel the reason that that has happened is simply down to the fact that because so many of these guys are operating under the guise that they care about customization to make these attacks and make these trolls, that it's made the entire topic look ridiculous and obscene. I'm pretty sure if you were to DM or email one of the developers and say, hey look, I have nothing to do or nothing wrong with women featuring in Battlefield 5, it's just I think this looks a little bit ridiculous, I think you'd get a very adequate response. But it's just the fact that, you know, the whole sort of Twitter and Reddit rhetoric of things has kind of descended this whole argument into madness. That people can't seem to make points about this without either being called a bigot or without seeming to be some kind of like social justice warrior who really cares about what happens in the game and, you know, thinks equality should be everywhere and blah blah. Like, truth be told guys, no one really cares. It's just a video game. We're all here to have a good time. We're all here for a good time, not a long time. You know, like, I don't really mind who's in the game. I don't care whether the guy next to me is black, white, or Asian, or if it's a woman or whatever. Like, I just like the idea that people can customize themselves. Now, of course, as somebody in the community who cares a lot about customization, I do agree that there is a line where things can go too far, and it's something I will be looking out for. You know, it's something that's really important to me, because I think it's vital that we're still able to identify classes based on uniforms, and I think it's pretty vital as well that the game does keep some level of authenticity in terms of uniforms and how things look, just because I think that adds to the immersion and realism factors, even though that isn't necessarily my primary concern. So to wrap it all up, I think customization is something we definitely have to keep an eye on. I think it's something that constructive criticism can be really helpful for, and it's something that developers definitely need to hear in terms of us wanting things not to go too far, or us wanting a certain kind of customization in the game. However, in doing so, I think the community does have a responsibility to call out the fact that there has been a minority who have hijacked this topic to try and make attacks on the game, make attacks on developers, and just make attacks on the idea of women being in the game, which, truth be told, I think the large majority of the players of Battlefield simply just don't really give a shit about anyway. So that's more or less it. As always, folks, it's been me, the Tactical Brit. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about customization, and I'll chat to you soon in another video.